Hi there, this is Sherry Simpson. I am in Nova Scotia, Canada, and I wanted to create a video for you today about manifestation. So if you've been following me for any period of time, then you know that I love the law of attraction and the universal laws, and I teach people how to manifest their desires. So before we go into that, there's two things I want to cover. One is the law of polarity. So that means in order to manifest the things that you want, most people have to come to grips with the fact that what you have right now is also something that you have manifested. And so if you believe in manifestation and the ability to create things, then you also need to believe that what you've created in your life was already part of a manifestation, that it's so if you're putting the responsibility of creating what is existing in your life that you now don't like or don't want on someone else, then it's like you're giving away your power and assuming that you can't create. So one of the tough things for people to understand is that they don't only create the things that they desire, but through indecision and repeating old patterns and things, they actually create things as well that they don't want or they don't like or they don't want anymore. So to come to grips with the fact that whatever is in your life now, you've actually chosen, even if you've done it using the against the law of deliberate creation, where you actually indeliberately created things, and then you've actually created it. So you actually made choices, or you've not made choices, which is actually a choice to create what you have. So some people really need to look at what it is they've created in life now in order to figure out where they are in order to get to where you want to be. And usually where you are is on a level here, and where you want to be is on a level here, and you need to make a transition. You can't get to here from here. So I'll use an example of something that I know that I created in my own life. In the past, I had a thyroid condition. And one aside for that is most people actually use conditions and disorders and things as labels and identity. So what you don't want to do is say, my headaches, my disease, my disorder, my fibromyalgia, my thyroid condition, my allergies, because then you're actually taking on as though it's your own. You're basically sending out a big foghorn message to the universe saying, this is mine, I own it, give me more. And that's not really something that you want to do. So you want to disconnect from those labels if you're doing them now. And as soon as you disconnect from that, it's as though you can re-choose a different pattern. So for me personally, I had a thyroid condition. I'm using the word had because I don't own it. I don't associate it with it any longer. I'm not on any medication. I've changed my diet, and I no longer have what's considered Graves' disease. My thyroid is functioning totally normally. Did I have to make a lot of changes? Of course I did. I ended up having to give up old patterns. I ended up having to change my diet. I removed wheat from my diet. I stopped eating so much red meat. I changed a whole bunch of things where I was setting boundaries and making sure I was doing more self-care and putting myself first. And changed my language. I stopped gossiping. I did a whole bunch of things that a lot of them had to do with throat and putting myself first rather than doing everything for everyone else. So it was a big life change. But I don't have a disorder anymore, and I'm much happier not eating wheat than I am with all of the different signs and symptoms that came along with actually having a thyroid condition. So basically the endocrinologist wanted to put me on pills in order to lower the condition that I had, which is an overactive thyroid, and I did that because it was very overactive. This was a couple of years ago, probably about 5 or 6 years ago now. And it was so overactive that, my blood pressure was really high, and I had anxiety, and I was sweating all the time, and I couldn't sleep, and it was a rough thing to go through. But the pills that the endocrinologist gave me actually took me down, so I felt like a slug, and I was like, no, this is not how I'm going to live the rest of my life. So I figured out how to wean myself off of those pills, and actually he told me that he said, People who have an overactive thyroid usually have to have it ablated, so they actually zap it and then they put you on pills like Synthroid in order to actually increase your thyroid because it doesn't exist anymore. I pretty much told him to piss off because that wasn't me, that wasn't for me. So I ended up shifting my diet, I shifted my mentality, I shifted my life in order to create what it was that I wanted. And it was a big change, but it was totally worth it. So I now own that I created that condition based on things that I did and patterns that I had and beliefs that I had for decades in the past. And so I really needed to go over that in order to understand that, yes, I created those things and I could create something different. So now I understand manifesting in the way that the law of attraction means that like attracts like. So if I'm thinking from a place of fear, I'm going to attract more things that are in line with fear because fear is here and love is here. If I want more love in my life, then I actually have to be on a place where I can accept more love. The next thing is actually being a deliberate creator and creating for yourself. So that means that if I want to make a choice, then indecision is a choice, and I can just let someone else have the power to choose for me, or I can choose what I want. So that allows me to take my power back, which means I'm further here. I'm not in a fear place. I'm getting closer to love. And then there's the law of allowing, which is a really tough one. The law of allowing is actually just getting out of your own way and not thinking, oh my God, what if this doesn't work? What if this doesn't turn out the way I want it? What if this is going to suck? And so you kind of get in your own way and just sort of overthink things. So that's 3 of the main laws. And I did mention the law of polarity. So the law of polarity means that there's always an opposition. So that's going back to the beginning. I mentioned that if you believe that you can create something in your life and you believe you can have what you desire, then you also have to believe that you created what you have now. Because if you can create this, then you've already created what you have. So you have to believe that. So the law of polarity means that there's an opposite to everything. So if there's a yin, there's a yang. If there's an up, there's a down. So what that means is if love exists, then yes, fear exists as well. And the great thing about that existing in the universe is even if you're thinking about more love, yes, more fear-based stuff could come to you because things are polar and they're working in opposites. But this means that you have a choice. This means that you can choose to stay in that fear-based place or you can choose to move to that love-based place. And if you're in the love-based place, then you're actually up here and you're going to attract more love. If you're in the fear-based place, then you're here and you're going to attract more fear. So it's great to have the choice because otherwise life would be really boring. So the law of polarity is very interesting. And one other thing about the law of polarity that I adore is that if you can think it, so if I can think about the life that I want and I can imagine it, then that means it has to exist because it's already a possibility if I can think of it. If I couldn't think of it, then it wouldn't exist. So it would just not be there. So that means if you can think about the desires and what you want in your life, then there's a possibility you can create it, but you need to get there from where you are. So you need to assess where you are. You need to actually climb up on that level and be the person who receives and achieves what it is that you want. So that is my message for today. If you have any comments or questions, you can contact me. I am at my Facebook group is facebook.com/groups/LOA to freedom, and it's called Create Freedom Your Way. I also have a Facebook fan page, which I can leave in the link below. And if you're not already on my email list, I have a really cool free e-course that's called Learn to Manifest. It's just short. It's about like 5 days, maybe about 6 emails, and it explains manifestation in more detail, a little bit about the 3 main laws I went through, the law of attraction, the law of deliberate creation, and the law of allowing, and it goes into a little bit more about creating your manifestation based on emotions and not necessarily I want a red Jeep or whatever you're looking to create. So check that out if you haven't. I'll leave the link for that below, and I would love to connect with you soon. You can connect with me on Facebook, as I said, or you can also check out my services. I'll leave the link for that below as well. I look forward to connecting with you and helping with you on creating your desires. So namaste. Have a beautiful day.